Hello, welcome to Three Crows Runes. My name is Jen. Let's do some rune readings. Today, we're going to be looking at messages from Faerie. We have the inimitable Brian Froud's Faerie Oracle. And I've got 3 cards randomly selected. So we're going to see which one of these randomly selected Faerie cards has a message for you. Feel into the cards and see which one is calling to you. I will put the timestamps in the description. Were you called by Faerie number 1, Faerie number 2, or Faerie number 3? Whichever one you were called to, click the timestamp to go to your reading, and I will see you there. Bye! Hello, Faerie number 1 people. So let's see which Faerie it is. I'm not going to be using reversals, so however this turns over, I'm going to turn it the right way. The back is not going to help because the back is the same right side up as it is upside down, which is cool. But let's see what Faerie it was that has a message for you. Ooh, you know what? Geo showed up here before. So this is Geo the Slow. And he has to do with slowing yourself down to like tree speed, like the Ents. So let's see what message Geo has for us. I'm going to be using the Willow runes. I figured that would be appropriate. And we're going to see what message Geo the Slow has for us again. He's obviously, a lot of us need to slow down in life because otherwise Geo wouldn't have shown up both times I did the Faerie readings, which is pretty cool. So what I'm doing is I'm throwing down what the central issue is, what's going to help, what isn't going to help, what led up to it, and what is your next step on the path. So Geo's message is, we're focusing on your journey, your life journey. This is Raido, it's the journey rune. It is upright, so it has to do with your life journey, and your central issue for this, and the central issue of the message that Geo has, is look at your life journey. Maybe, just given what Geo is, maybe he's sort of reminding you to not be so focused on an end goal, but also just basically to savor every step of the journey, to see the journey as part of what you're accomplishing. So what led up to this is, okay, so we have Fehu. Fehu is the first rune. Fehu is the rune of wealth and worth, has to do with cattle. It's the wealth and worth that you tend. It is reversed, so it has to do with sort of, I'm going to read this a couple ways, sort of a feeling of maybe you're not feeling as worthy, or maybe you aren't feeling as wealthy in your life, maybe not as rich in your life as you would like to. As well, it's a question of sort of the confidence and I'm really mostly going to read this as you're not getting as much richness as you would like, which has set you on this journey. You're looking at your life journey. There is a sense of, that's my cat's toy. It's under the table. There is a sense of, developing confidence, sort of looking to feeling more confident with Fehu reversed. But I think in this case, it really does have to do with feeling like your life maybe isn't as rich as you'd like it to be. And so you set off and you're sort of focusing on the journey right now. Again, Geo is saying, pay attention to all the little things in your journey that can make your journey rich, because it's that is going to bring in the richness, sort of acknowledging that. So what helps is we have Sovilo. Sovilo is the sun rune, and it has to do with tapping into your source energy. So whatever it is that gives you energy, like always, essentially essential energy, tapping into that, which really is nature and source. So Geo is definitely leading into this. It's sort of like tapping into the nature energy, and that's actually going to help you focus on, it's going to illuminate your journey. It's going to illuminate your path and show up the things that are going to make your journey more rich. What doesn't help, we have Gabo. Gabo is the rune of gifts. It's always an exchange, so the gift exchange. Also agreements, decisions. It's like you set out and you had a specific idea in mind for this journey, but of course, generally, even if the main central thread of something is going to be the same as what you had the idea of, everything around it is going to be probably not what you planned. Generally, what's going to come out is going to be more than what you planned. I'm actually going to throw down a couple more just on this line, just to Okay, so a couple things. So if you have in mind something very specific, you're going to be disappointed, because nothing's going to be, it's like that whole thing about, if just because you don't get what you exactly expected doesn't mean you can't enjoy it. It's like, instead of expecting something specific, accepting what you get and enjoying that. So I mean, obviously if you specifically order something specific, you want to get that. But in terms of just setting out on a journey, there are going to be surprises. And if you are shunning the surprises because that's not what you had in mind, you're missing out on what could bring richness into your life. So that could actually drag you down at this point, as well as it's sort of like an immovability. We have Isa. Isa is the Rune of Ice, and it's underneath what doesn't help. So it's like you're immovable you're sort of frozen on your idea of what your path is going to be. And if you don't get what you expect, then you're going to be disappointed. But there's so much else coming to you through the grace of just the journey, that if you're dismissing these, you're going to miss out on the richness. And that's a lot of what Geo is basically talking about. So if that starts to drag you down, bring yourself back up to where you are tapping into the source energy, you're tapping into the wonders of nature. And this is actually, we've actually thrown down another rune up here, which is Laguz. Laguz is the rune of the lake. It has to do with like intuition, emotion, and heart. It is reversed. So on the upper line, reversed, it would be like inner. So your deepest heart feeds basically into your source energy, which nourishes you on your journey and makes it more rich. So what this leads to, actually, interestingly, is we have Berkana. Berkana is the rune of beginnings, birth. It's the birch tree rune. It is reversed, and it's on the path line. And it's almost like two things. One, it's sort of like the end of the beginning. So once you have got all this, you thought you set out on your journey, but this is where the beginning of your journey ends. At the same time, it doesn't mean that you don't continue. It's like, this is where you thought this was the beginning, but this was the end of the beginning over here. So you've properly begun once you've aligned yourself with where your source energy is nourishing you. Also, I'm going to read this as the beginning of an inner journey, which is going to add richness to your outer journey as well. So we've got the beginnings are also turning inward, where you're actually beginning to actually birth something from deep within. So that is your message from Geo the Slow. I will see you again next time. Bye. Hello, fairy number 2 people. So once again, I'm just going to turn this. I don't do reversals for these cards. I don't know which is going to be the reverse and which isn't, because we've got the background, which could be the same reversed as it is upright, which is very, very cool. So let's see which fairy it is that has a message for you. Ooh, the Glanconer. Look how cool he is. This deck, of course, even though there is a book with it, does say that there's a very that these are intended to be intuitional. So he looks like he's got some messages from really merging with the wild for you. But let's see what message he has, because who knows? The messenger may look different from the message, which is always neat. So I'm going to throw down a few runes. Once again, I'm using the willow runes this time, which I think is fitting for fairies. I'm going to start with basically the central issue of what he's telling you, what's led up to this, what is helping, what isn't helping, and your next step on the path. And you know what? I'm actually going to do this before I even start. The first fairy had extra runes on top and bottom, and I just want these to be equal. And it just it clarifies it a lot better. So let's get this all arranged neatly in the shot. So Glanconer's main crux of the message is stop fighting. Basically, we have Tivaz. Tivaz is Tyr's rune. Tyr's the warrior god. It has to do with not only setting out and, let's ride into battle, but also with duty and responsibility. But generally it's like, and reversed, it's kind of like, put your sword down. Put the sword down. You don't need to be fighting at this point. And basically his main message to you is that. Now what's led up to this is we have Sovilos. Sovilos is the rune of the sun. It looks like you've recently had experience with and have tapped into your source energy. This Silvilo has to do with your source energy. So it looks like you've had this like recent influx of energy, and you realize at this point you don't have to fight anymore, at least as much as you used to, in terms of like fighting about everything. Just kind of like let it rest, you know, let some battles go unfought. They are not necessary to be fought. So it's sort of like just chill. What helps here is we have Fehu. Fehu is the rune of wealth and worth. It has to do with like the wealth that you tend. So it looks like you're feeling pretty good. I think after you've had this recent influx of energy, and this has left you feeling pretty enriched. Like you feel pretty worthy, and also, because this was sort of a surprise, you're not as worried about surprises. In fact, you're welcoming them at this point. We have Pertho. Pertho is the rune of the lot box. So it's, you know, your luck, your fate, basically the revelation of a surprise, but this is like a surprise that was already there. So you're actually, what helps you is just this comfort and confidence with not having to worry about, you don't feel like you have to worry about the surprises anymore because you had such a good surprise that gave you so much energy recently. And you feel like you can actually lay down your sword now, for at least for now, hopefully forever. And, for now. And it's making you feel more worthy than you have before. Like, yeah, no, I did deserve this. And that you're actually welcoming more surprises to enrich your life. What doesn't help here is we have Gabo and we have Algi's reversed. Gabo's the rune of gift. Gabo's the gift, but it has to do with like an exchange and also with like decisions, agreements. And you may have had a plan before this happened, and you may still be clinging to this. And the reason that this is going to drag you down, as well as the fact that you're sort of clashing with what's going on right now, is we have Algi's, which is the rune of protection and support, and it is reversed and it's on the lower line. So you're sort of worried that you had a plan going forward, but then this happened. And now that you're operating on a new plan sort of based on your new energy and your new feelings of worth and surprises that you are welcoming, you feel like you may not have the support that you had for your previous plan. But try not to worry about that. You are in a really good place right now. You're, as Glenn Comer says, you're sort of very harmonic with things. You're getting this good influx of energy. You're feeling much more worthy than you did before, and you are welcoming the surprises that are happening because they are only fueling this energy and feelings of worth that you recently have gotten. So, putting down your sword is actually very, very good at this point. Your next step on the path line is we have Ansuz, but Ansuz reversed. Ansuz is the rune of communication and manifestation. It is reversed and it's on the path line. So what I am seeing this as is now we've got to the point where you can actually lay down your sword. You are now being invited to listen to your inner voice. Just basically turn inward, listen to that inner voice, enjoy silence. Basically turn into states where you can actually be, situations where you can actually have moments of silence, like some sustained amounts of silence where you can actually listen to your inner voice, listen to your inner communication, and even just listen, even just be silent and listen to what's around you. That's going to help you become more harmonic with things that will call in more source energy, that will call in more welcome surprises, and that will help you with more of your sense of worth, where you won't feel like you have to fight it, where you actually can feel more harmonic with the elements around you and sort of be of them. So that is your message from the Glancomer. Glenn Coner. Is it Glenn Coner? Which one I was saying all the whole time. Anyway, it's right there. Enjoy. Beautiful artwork, of course, always by Brian Froud. That is your message from the Glenn Coner. And I wish you a lovely day or evening, and I will see you again next time. Bye. Hello, fairy number 3 people. So I'm going to turn this fairy card over. I don't know if it's upright or upside down. I'm not going to do reversals. I'm going to turn it over because these particular cards have just very beautiful artwork, and I don't want that to be obscured. I don't know whether this is upside down or not because the backs of the cards are in such a way that they are upright whichever way you have them, which is pretty neat. So let's see which fairy has a message for you. Ooh, we have the Pook. I wonder if this is some sort of relation to the puka. Puka, of course, a mischievous fairy spirit, but I think it might be, whether it's an essence of or not, it's a very wild and ethereal and exciting, vibrant little fairy with a wild little face. So let's see what message the Pook has for you. I would be so honored. That's interesting. We're starting with the same rune that came up with the previous fairy, but very different message around it. The one thing about the runes is generally the rune itself, it may be the same, but it's the runes around them that sort of help tell the story. So it's generally, even though it's the same rune, it may have a very different meaning in the spread that it's in. I'm actually going to drop one on top and on the bottom as well, because in the past couple of readings it was very, very helpful, and I just wanted to get it out of the way right away to do that. So I've set down the central issue of the message, what led up to it, what helps and what doesn't help, and what your next step is going to be. Okay. So our central issue we are seeing represented by Tivaz reversed. Tivaz is the warrior, well, Tivaz is the warrior god. Tyr is the warrior god. Tivaz is Tyr's rune. And what we see is, when it's reversed, it has to do with A, put your sword down, you don't have to fight, but also with, Tyr's rune is always not only about riding into battle, blah, 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 but also about duty and responsibility. And turned reversed, in a reversed way, oh my gosh, a language. Reversed, it tends to do with inner, like tending your inner responsibilities and duties, as well as just, you don't have to fight, lay your sword down. It's also sort of a command, like don't fight and don't fight this. That's what it was in the previous reading, but in this one I'm seeing it as being something a little bit different. So let's continue reading the runes. So what led up to this is we have Yira. Yira is the rune of the harvest. It also has to do with time. How much time has passed, how much time is coming, how much time is left, and the concern about that. And maybe you've found yourself recently in a situation where you feel like, oh my gosh, maybe I have wasted so much of this time, and maybe how much time do I have left? As well as, you're sort of seeing the fruits of your labors. You're seeing things come up, and maybe you're like, what's next? So either way, you find yourself in this situation where you have your sword and you're like, where do I direct this sword next? And it looks like you're going to be turning this inward, sort of to do some inner work and sort of do some tending to your inner duties. So what helps at this point? We have Evaz reversed and we have Ansuz reversed. And this is why I'm reading this more as like, let's turn the agriculture inward to start bringing stuff, to start tending the inner garden. Evaz is the rune of the horse, and it has to do with movement, but also spirit. And reversed, it has to do with like, let's first of all stop running around. That's going to help very much. And also turn into looking at, letting your spirit carry you inwardly. And what helps with that is we have Ansuz reversed as well. Ansuz is the rune of communication and manifestation. Reversed, it has to do with inner communication and manifestation. So really listening to your inner voice, letting that inform your inner journey of spirit, where you're letting spirit carry you, but inwardly. You've taken your implement and you're sort of delving inwardly at this point. And that's really, this is probably why the Pook has shown up with his bioluminescence, if you will. So it's like somewhere where you can actually delve forward into your inner environment and really look around and sort of start tending that garden. Now what doesn't help, we have Algiz reversed and we have Windyo reversed. So Algiz is the rune of the elk, and it has to do with protection and support. Reversed, it has to do with worries about whether you will have the protection and support that you need. And the reason about this is that you either are feeling less contented and happy than you would like to, or you're worried about that you will find something that will make you unhappy and that will maintain this unhappiness, and that you won't have the support that you need to carry with that. So this is like new ground, because you've already been working on the outside with things, what fruits of your labor that you have seen already, and the concerns about time all have to do with like surface and outside. This time you're actually delving inward, and you don't really have a map for this, so you're sort of letting spirit direct you and listening to your inner voice to direct you while you have your, driving forward implement to tend the duties of your inner world. If this starts to drag you down, just remind yourself, just like put yourself back in the hands of spirit and listen to your inner voice and let that lead you. And what this is going to lead you to is we have Othala reversed. Othala is the rune of the homeland and the home. Reversed, it has to do with letting go of things that no longer serve you. And I think that's something that you're going to discover a lot of. And if you like, you can even call on the Pook to to help lead you and help shine the light during this journey. Seems to be willing to come and help you with that, which is awesome and exciting. And this will actually lead you to where you're going to see what you've been carrying with you that has possibly been slowing you down and dragging you down. And this is good, and you'll be able to be lighter. You'll be able to release these things and move forward. So that is your message from the Pook. I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you again next time. Bye!